Hello everyone. Today we are here. We have Mr. M.K. Pasha with us on the podcast. He is a cyclist and a High Court advocate. He also specializes in sports law, and he is a technical official for cycling with CFI. He's also a legal advisor on sports matters for various sports federations, and he is also one of the key organizers in for HRC races. So he does a lot of stuff that kind of contributes to the growth of cycling in Hyderabad. So we are going to spend some time talking to him today about his journey in cycling, and we also will touch upon sports related information that can be beneficial for the athletes.
Yes,
So, welcome to the Working Athlete podcast, Pasha.
thank you so much, Venki. Most much awaited. This was a fantastic platform offered by you to actually speak about and throw some light on the cycling aspects and as well as in general sports and the legal points involved in sports because I have a dual background being in sports from my childhood in fact, and now my profession brings value to the game, and I'm trying my best to bring and add value addition sports, not just in Hyderabad but in the country as well,
Yeah.
serving as a sports lawyer for the country. Yes.
Yes, great. Let us get started by talking a little bit about your relationship with sport
Yes,
growing up.
absolutely. My father was in defense. He was from services, and he also was from sports background. My grandfather was also from sports background and served in services. And with that, you get to a lot of exposures in all the activities, not just education. So that brought me into sports, and my father was already a swimmer. And I started off with swimming, and I was also a national champion for 6 years in swimming. I
Wow.
swam for around 14 to 15 years. My entire childhood, I was in waters. And being in that, my journey in Andaman and Nicobar for quite long time. I was also the tsunami survivor during that time. And swimming was always part of, my routine. Like in the morning, I used to wake up around 5 o'clock, go to pool, come back, school. That was my normal day. And that's how I said a goodbye to swimming once I started my law studies. That was a 5 year LLB. And the education curriculum demanded me to, get into a lot of extensive study. And with that, I had to say goodbye to swimming, but I never left sports. And I was doing something to keep myself fit and active. And triathlons was one of the areas which actually fascinated me, and I wanted to do some of the races in triathlon. So I started with that because I was good with swimming. Running eventually added up because you're very active. Cycling was the area where I was always a weaker because never did cycling. And with that, I joined my coach. My first coach was Gokul Krishna, and I joined him for cycling. And I thought that I should spend more time focusing on my weaker area to better the game. And that's how I got acquainted with cycling, and cycling became a huge black hole, sucking me inside. And I left swimming, left running, and cycling is such a beautiful sport. And because I was weak in that area, I always wanted to do good, so I spent more time in the game and learned about the game, and that's how got acquainted with cycling. Started with road cycling initially, and we I was always in numbers, always had scientific approach. So we were recording and tracking my training data. One fine day, Gokul said, your sprint powers are good. Why don't you try track cycling? And after finishing road nationals, I only did two nationals. And subsequent to that, I wanted to try out track nationals. And that's when I got in touch with Dr. Maxwell Trevor, the legendary cyclist. And he was also on your podcast.
Yeah.
And I heard about Dr. Maxwell Trevor and his philanthropic work he's doing to develop the sport by uplifting the economically backward children, bringing them into the sport, and once they reach to a medal stage, they get selected for jobs. That was the work he was doing. And by the time I got in touch with Dr. Maxwell Trevor in 2015, around 2015 and 16, and it was already 5 years he was already doing this. I was so inspired by his work. And one fine day I went to track and with road cycles. And first day itself, Dr. Maxwell Trevor put up a points race, and myself and my riding partner Akash, we did the points race, and we also crashed in the final lap. And we did a like two somersaults in the air and crashed on the land, tasting the mud and dirt on the track. And it took us some time to realize what exactly happened. And immediately, Dr. Maxwell Trevor came up and said, nothing to worry, let's do strength training now. I hated him the first day, and I decided this is the last day I'm coming for any training sessions by Dr. Maxwell Trevor. But surprisingly, Akash stopped coming to track. I continued. I don't know, something is there in track cycling and the speeds you ride, maybe that's driving me crazy or at that time. So I decided to pursue and dedicate some training period for track. And that's how I started doing track cycling. And eventually I did well in the game. I was also clocking around 110 for a kilometer time trial back then, like 2 years ago. And that's, if you see, it's around almost in top 10 timings for senior men. And track also brings a lot of crashes. You go all out, you're beyond your neuromuscular zones, and you don't know what's happening. Something happens to the bike or you crash, you have major injuries. And I actually married injuries during that time. So a lot of injuries, a lot of breaks in the game. So finally, I'm just keeping myself fit with track cycling and doing my profession parallelly. And when it comes to my profession, I have been in legal profession for almost a decade now, 10 years this year. And sports being my integral part of my lifestyle, always wanted to pursue something in this field. And I am specialized in civil law, but slowly I understood the importance of sports law, which is very niche in the country right now in India. Apart from the Premier Leagues and cricket, there's not much work for sports lawyers in India. However, I wish and hope that the sports industry will grow and boom in coming years, and there will be a need of sports lawyers like us. And I thought, let's pursue. I did my course in sports law and currently working with various sports associations, um, state level, national level. Plus, I am also advisor for many individual athletes. I don't wish to name, but some of them are Commonwealth athletes as well. Kind of a sports manager from them, reviewing their contracts, their brand endorsements. These are the works we do in terms of corporate law for them. And also very fortunate and privileged to be part of the legal panel of Cycling Federation of India. And it's an honor for me to be in that game, which I love the most now. And also a qualified technical official, because it also adds value to my legal profession, because now you know the rules of the games as well. So when I go argue the matters in the court, I know the game, and it becomes easier for me to argue, explain the judge the best I can. And fortunate enough to work with CFI, and they have always been kind enough to offer me works and wherever possible, I'm ready to serve them. That's my journey right now.
Excellent. No, that's quite a quite a good journey. I was just curious to just go back to your swimming
Yes,
race. You mentioned that you've been a national champion for 5, 6 years.
6 years,
Six
yes.
years. Recently. What was your specialty
I
even?
was more into backstroke,
Okay.
and that was the only stroke I learned first.
Hmm.
Usually, the coaches teach the freestyle, but somehow I didn't get freestyle. So, backstroke was the one. And for 4 years, I was in backstroke, 50 meters and 100 meters. And then I moved to long distance, 800-meter freestyles. But very surprising thing, science in the game back then was not that much. We used to have coaches allotted by CBSE. I was a Kendriya Vidyalaya student from first to 12th. So the coaches allotted to us were not scientifically advanced, but very good coaches. What I am here in terms of swimming, it's because of them. And I was always into long distances because somehow I used to do well, but not really great, didn't go beyond national level. Eventually, after science came in through cycling, the data, the metrics, all that we measured, my peak power was great. I mean, I have done 1957 watts for 6 seconds. That's my peak power during my peak training stage. And so that showed that I had really good fast twitch muscles and good response. And science brought a change in my total, the game which I was looking at. Triathlon was also again a long distance event. I was good, but not great. Track cycling, after the scientific involvement, the, gadgets coming in, within a short time, I did really well.
Hmm.
So I am genetically a short sprint guy, fast twitch muscle. That's my area. And my father was also into that.
Hmm.
My grandfather was also a short distance runner. Genetically, we are fast twitch muscle athletes.
Right. So you kind of dabbled into the idea of triathlon.
Yes.
Did it happen at all? Or?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
I did Hyderabad triathlons twice.
Hmm.
I also had a third place in Chennai triathlon, which is not happening anymore. That was the last triathlon.
CTC?
CTC,
Yeah.
yes. Uh, Peter Van.
Yeah. Peter Van
So,
Dijk.
yes, he was very inspiring guy. That was the last triathlon I also did and was a fantastic event. I think after that they stopped doing events. So, yeah.
And then you got indulged in cycling so much,
Yeah.
enamored by cycling so much that you forgot about swimming and running part of it and just
Yes.
stuck to cycling.
Yes.
Right, expanding a little bit on cycling aspect, although what was your experience with road cycling at the two nationals that you have participated in?
Hmm.
What were your key takeaways from that journey of road cycling?
See, to begin with, when I was doing road cycling in Hyderabad, because I was training majorly in road cycling in Hyderabad. So earlier the city didn't expand, so we had better roads to train. Little traffic, but manageable. You can do long distance rides and short rides. You can come out. Right now, you don't have that scenario. And two is it was much easier earlier to get onto the roads, follow a training program. Right now, you can't do intervals on roads. That is one. Two is there's a lot more to do in road cycling, especially because one is the major predominant factor is you don't have roads to train. No matter how long you train indoors, you still need those endurance miles.
Hmm.
So that is becoming a challenge in road right now. And my takeaways with nationals in India, the competition level at nationals is very high. When it comes to nationals, it's pretty high and pretty dominant also by certain riders and certain departmental like services, railways, and national camp riders. pretty much dominant with the top 5 to 6 positions. Now, the key part is if you really want to get that medal, you need to train and dedicate those hours like how they do. And that's not the only factor. You also need money, very expensive game at the same time, and it just doesn't stop. I mean, it's just not one time investment, it's forever.
Yeah.
So the key inputs are you need to put up the time, nutrition, you need to have a good coach, plus you need to have good roads to train. All that factor, if you should be actually training like a professional, even though you're not professional, but you should train like a professional to become. So that amount of time I was not able to put in when it comes to road, because you are out for 120K ride for 3 to 4 hours are out, and then preparation, coming back, your rest and recovery, it hampers. I did not have that much time with my profession in demand. So that's the major takeaway to switch from road cycling.
So coming to the track cycling, the couple of years you spent, competing and training on track. What were the key differences that you noticed in the training methods as well as the requirements for in terms of time demand and
Yes.
effort demands?
In terms of track training, one is you train at a closed circuit, a proper infrastructure. One thing is safety. You're always safe on the track, apart from the crashes. Two is hugely equipment based sport. One misunderstanding I had was it's just a bike without brakes, single speed, one chain, cog, and the chain plate. That's all. But no. In fact, I spent more money on track cycling than road, and hugely equipmental. You need to know the mechanical work of the bike. You will not have a mechanic with you, so you need to know how to fix your bike, how to change plates, how to change ratios. Every single component of the bike matters, because you are fighting and competing in
Fraction of second.
fraction of
Yeah.
seconds. So that's where the game changes completely. The way you look at the game changes. Now, one key area is training, of course. After training, when you achieve to one level, now every component and equipment on the bike matters, because that can bring down your timing. And once you're on the track, when you get the knack of the speeds you're riding and the timings, because track cycling shows you progress. Like in a matter of week and 10 days, you see your timing, someday you're 25.2 for a one lap standing start. After 10 days of good training and volume and gym, you might be doing 24.9. So you see that progress, and it motivates you. It motivates you. That's what keeps me going on track. So, and it's not for any faint hearteds. Definitely not. You need to be like good street smart, go getter, fighter. And that's the area where if you have all of that, you're good for track. So, yeah.
Yeah. So, and in the Indian cycling, scenario also, there is a lot of focus for from CFI on track cycling, and you see the results.
Yes.
Even at the junior level, world championship
Yes.
level, and now getting into senior level as well, the same guys. So, do you see that the focus from the road side of things changing in the future, or yeah, improving a little bit?
I don't say a very huge change. See, end of the day, it's the riders who want to choose. Many riders are switching to track. If you have observed, Venki,
Hmm.
in road cycling, many are switching to only time trials. You don't see that number of master riders anymore now. In the last 2, 3 years, many have just switched to only time trials. So it's the riders who are choosing and making the decision. And when you get good and raw, good talent in any discipline or event, any federation or associations will would like to improve that area support, because you have seen that in the track we are the junior world champions, we have also Asian records, and that's these are the athletes who have been picked up from raw talent. And and the recent past 2 3 years, if you see the new national record timings or whatever timings they're clocking, are the riders who have either switched from road or the riders who have actually opted to ride only track cycling. So it's a rider who is choosing uh, that area of the game. So of course, eventually the focus changes. You want to bring more infrastructure where a large number of riders want to do it. And in the road cycling also, if you have seen many time trial bikes, there's not much mass start riders. Mass start, there are only handful of riders who are actually riding to win that game. Rest all are just riding to be part of it.
Right.
So that transition is happening. It's the riders, athletes who are making a choice, smart choice in terms of result oriented. Now, that's how an athlete is looking right now. And I think that is a good way to look at. Uh,
Why do you think this shift is happening? Why do you think that people are not focusing as much on the road, that mass start
yes,
kind of scenario?
correct. One is, as I earlier mentioned at the very outset, training road facility in India is not that great, and most of the riders hail from cities, village. Some riders have moved to their villages so that they can get a good part of road, section of roads to train, but not everybody is fortunate to have that kind of facility. That being said, they're not able to train on the roads, safety aspect, lot of accidents happening for cyclists, and eventually they are losing interest to ride a mass start. And it's not a individual game, it's an overall teamwork. That's mass start is all about. That you
Yeah.
need a bunch of riders to ride with. You throw a challenge to your partner, bunch of 4 to 5 riders when they ride together on a tempo, and then in the end of the ride you want to sprint and see the capability. That's not happening right now. You can't do it.
Mm.
And that is one reason riders are trying to figure out what is the way I can do cycling at the same time I'm safe and also get results. Time trial is one area you will always see progress, because time based event.
Mm.
So time based events, you always see, even if you crack down 5 seconds, you are happy for the day.
Right.
Some progress is happening in terms of power numbers. Your FTP improves, your threshold improves. You see that progress in a month.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what keeping them motivated, and also the transition is happening because of that.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. It being a team sport,
Yes.
also plays a major role, because you need, 5, 6 team members to work for you
Yes.
in a race, and for you to have any chance of getting a result. And then too, it is not guaranteed.
Correct.
There are so many factors that are involved,
Yes.
the strategies of other teams and all that also come into the picture. So that is where, and of course the safety aspect
Yes.
becomes predominant as well. So I guess to cut down the variables and the number of variables that they need to control become exponential when it comes to
Yes.
road. So it kind of makes sense that people are gravitating towards one thing, which, when it comes to time trial, it is their power, it's their bike, it's their aero position, is that the aero suit, helmet, all
Yes.
these things, that if they can kind of the factors that they have direct control over.
Correct.
So yeah, it kind of makes sense. And
Yes.
also that when it comes to track, also that is kind of similar scenario.
Almost, yes.
Yeah.
You again have sprint riders and endurance riders in the same.
Mm.
Many opt for pursuit. Not really, if you're not really doing well in pursuit, you switch to scratch race or a points race or multiple events.
Mm.
Athletes are spending money.
Mm.
Now you need to see ROI in that,
Right,
right?
right,
And at the same time, the risk factor. You break your bone, 3 months, you're on the bed or off from training.
right.
That's not worth it, especially in India when you're not sponsored or a funded athlete.
Mm.
It's a money which goes off. So riders are becoming smart and choosing what best they are at. And if you see, the decision are correct.
Mm.
Results are good. They're progressing in time trials and other events.
Excellent. So let us talk a little bit about the HRC events that you are organizing for the Hyderabad racing community. What was the origin of that and how did it progress over the years?
Yes, very interesting though. After my road national, I realized, it's just not training. You have to race also. You need to have experience of racing. Year of training and you show up for one race, not a good formula. So I realized that, you should also train to race. How to race, what are the tactics. And I believe that the more you fail in these kind of races, the A game you will always excel. You will not do those mistakes. And after the road nationals, we were a bunch of guys, I would like to name because they were part of my cycling journey. Akash, Prajwal, Anirudh, Sampath, and a couple of other guys. We decided to do these fast centuries, but a competition level. That's what I was talking. Why mass start? The idea was to do a mass start, but on a friendly note, and let's see who finishes the century fast. That's how we started, and we got a lot of appreciation from the club riders, local riders. They wanted to be part of it. Then I decided, let's do a race, like proper race. No experience in conducting races, but read out the rules. I reached out to you also, a big help from you, forming rules and regulations for the game. And the first HRC, we named it as Hyderabad Racing Circuit. I wanted it to be a very simple race because the thing was, many organizers, they came, they conducted races, but went off the track. Uh, the idea is, if you do too much of arrangements, you'll not be able to sustain. I wanted to keep it simple. Initially, we started with 150 registration fee. Very simple. Just you get some breakfast, ride and go. And we started with handicap race. Huge appreciation, and that was the time I switched to track also. I actually did it for myself, but served to the community. And you'll be surprised to know I haven't raced even a single HRC till date. I really want to, but I am doing the part of arrangements and being a director of that race. And HRC started in the year 2020, and it picked up so well. It was very simple to sign up. You showed up. We started with 2 races a month, and we had this signature route, Shankarpalli route, rolling terrain, not that easy, and 35 km circuit, pretty good road, and with a hilltop finish. So I said this is the perfect place to conduct races, and eventually the village people around started supporting in terms of traffic also. So we didn't have to take any permission, nothing doing. No rider ever complained about something like that because the village people also realized कि every Sunday इधर कुछ हो रहा है. So that's the point with HRC, and we started continuing to conduct these races, and we also conducted one premier race wherein I invited some good riders from the country, and they came, they participated. NJ was also part of it, and couple of one rider came from Himachal Pradesh also, and I put up a small cash prize because I understood that they are spending money to travel, so at least they can cover those expenses. Otherwise, we don't keep cash prize. It's only medal for the winners, and you get breakfast and go home. So it's very simple. people sign up, they really look forward to the races. Now we are making it once in a month because that route has also started developing a lot of traffic, a lot of constructions coming up. Now we don't have that hill finish. Hill is totally destroyed. A lot of buildings have come up, and so we are doing a pretty decent job in conducting these races. The benefit was for the riders who never tried their capabilities, actually help them to see that, I have potential to ride different category of races. There were a lot of brevet riders who came and signed up for handicap races and realized that they can ride pretty good. And couple of them switched to time trials. And women riders, a lot of women riders signed up and they come and race. It's a very healthy environment there, and many new talent we identified with from the HRC. I think we have 7 to 8 national riders who never participated. They came, they represented the state championship. Couple of them got state medals also. So that's the contribution of HRC. I don't think in what way it is contributing, but it's developing the community, also the bike shops. It helps them because now they see, not tomorrow Venki is riding some good, nice bike with a nice helmet. So I check on that and inquire with my bike shop. I would like to have that. So it develops the ecosystem. The bike shops are flourished with that. Three is, in terms of racing experience, who are serious about the game, they can also come and show up to these races and try new things in those races and challenge the local guys. And there's always an inspiration. You always need a strong rider to train with. You see somebody who's strong and from your area, now you will also connect with him and, hey, can I be your training partner? And that's how the ecosystem develops.
Yeah.
And HRC, I believe it's helping the riders to get the racing exposure, to the beginners to see the game, because we follow very strict rules in HRC, all the CFI regulations, and we are very strict about it. We have warning system. We have suspended a couple of riders also. I am very strict on that part so that they learn that this is not a game, this is an Olympic sport. And with that, there has been a lot of contribution to the ecosystem in general.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's what
No,
HRC.
definitely the events like the club racing scene
Yes,
like HRC um, is very, very important because that is where uh, one, it gives the riders something to look forward to and train towards.
correct.
That becomes the motivation. That is something that they look forward to and train towards to. Unless we have something in the horizon like a carrot, you don't get that motivation always to
Yeah,
get out of the bed and
yes,
get on the bike. That becomes a major motivational factor for a lot of riders.
true.
When we started, it was HPC races back in what 2008,
Mm.
2009, I guess, and there we were just a bunch of us, and in the Gachibowli area, we used to do. I think I still have pictures from that
Uh-huh.
race. It's beautiful, right? But like you said, various people tried it and it kind of didn't sustain. But I hope HRC sustains, and keeping it simple also helps in
Yeah,
that sustainability
yes,
aspect. That is why something that I started in 2013 with Bangalore Amateur
Yes.
Racing is still going strong because there is nothing that I need to put in
Yes.
apart from a few hours of my time once or twice a month. Maybe an hour baking a cake
Yeah. No.
and
Yes.
a couple of hours timing the event and conducting the event, and that's about it. And maybe another hour publishing the results,
Yes.
and that's about it. But what that gives to the community is immense,
Yes.
because that gives new riders a chance to test themselves if they like racing,
Yes.
right? They don't need to spend a lot for registration and stuff. They can just turn up and race. It doesn't matter what equipment they have. It gives them a taste,
Yes.
and the all that the adrenaline rush of racing and stuff. And it's great for the community in terms of rider development.
Yes. True.
The other day on a podcast, Rick Noble was saying,
Mm-hmm.
right? The top is there, the top few riders are there, but you need to develop the base of the pyramid,
True.
right? Only if the numbers are growing at the grassroots level will the quality of the riders at the top also will grow.
Correct.
Right, so that is what the community racing scene like HRC, BAR, BBCH,
Yes.
which is an inspiration for all the
Correct.
club racing scenes, have become so vital.
Yes.
If you see the number of medals or national riders that came out of scene like BBCH,
Yes.
it is mind blowing,
Mind blowing. Yes.
right? So back in 2012, the one rider came down from the US and participated in the BBCH, and that is the rider who we are now seeing becoming the eighth time, national
National champion.
in the scene. So this is the if BBCH wasn't there, and if I didn't write a blog about my racing experience in BBCH,
True.
maybe NJ wouldn't know that there is a racing scene in India, and
Yes.
he wouldn't have, you know, it's all like, it's all the candles of inspiration
Yes.
passing on, and everything matters. Every little contribution we do towards the community for development of cycling matters. And I
True.
think the work that you are putting in for HRC is tremendous, and that is going to help a lot of
Lot of.
riders from this community.
Yes. Very true.
So keep up the good work.
Thank
And
you.
coming to um, the Maxwell sir's academy, and you also have a role to play in that.
Yes.
So let's talk a little bit about the work that the academy does and your role there.
Yes, absolutely. I'm also the General Secretary of the Dr. Maxwell Trevor Cycling Welfare Association. So my journey with Dr. Maxwell Trevor started with my training with him. He was my track coach. And parallelly, I was also, getting acquainted closely with him, the works he is doing to develop the cycling community in terms of uplifting younger talent. And that's when, uh, we discussed that, we should form an association so that it will reach out more and not just bunch of 10-15 athletes. And we formed an association with very like-minded people. uh, all are ex, and one good part about our association is that all are ex national cyclists, and most of them are medalists. They know the game, so that is one primary area where we focused. Two is we always looked for developing infrastructure, sports infrastructure, uh, rather than buying a couple of accessories for cyclists, and that's not gonna help. So we try to build a good infrastructure so that it will have a long-term program. two of the major programs what we have in the academy is one talent identification and two is talent development program. These are the two primary programs and principles we work on. One is talent identification. Every year we conduct one major event from the in Hyderabad, which is kids talent identification from the age group of 6 years till 15 years, and we try to catch them young. Number one. Two, it's a statewide identification program. People from various parts of Telangana come up, not just Telangana. We have been doing this for 2 years. 5 states minimum show up: Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, Coimbatore. People from Coimbatore come up in a team. They come here, they do the cycling event, and we shortlist them. And every last first year we shortlisted 30, out of which 8 athletes represented nationals.
Wow.
Yes, in the same year.
Yeah.
It's not the next year, it's the same year. So that is one. Two, second year we doubled the number. We selected 60 riders. So this year we have under 14 and 16. In the track, we had around 18 representations.
Wow.
So these are all the athletes whom we picked up from talent identification program. Some of them didn't even ride a bicycle in their life. So they show up with basic skills and we identify the potential physical ability in the game. And we also conduct summer camps for kids. So these are the two programs in terms of identification. Plus, we sometimes, when we are on the move to remote areas, we also try to identify athletes from remote areas. And we have a facility in the building, Dr. Maxwell Trevor's building. We have a small kitchen where athletes can stay, eat the right nutrition. So it's our focus majorly is on overall development. We never know how many years these athletes will stay, but when they move out, they should become a good human being as well because they're kids. This is the right time you feed the nurturing stage. So we focus on overall development, education, discipline, respect, courtesy, giving credit, due credit to parents, and all these basic principles we try to inculcate, make it part of their life. That's the development program we do, and these are the two areas. I serve as the backend workforce for the association as a general secretary, and every now and then I try to support Dr. Maxwell Trevor at the training facility to help him and assist him. Not just myself, my wife has also learned and understood the game, and she's also assisting Dr. Maxwell Trevor, Dr. Maxwell Trevor's wife, Lorraine Trevor, and Amanda, who's the daughter. We all 4 to 5 people go to ground, pick up athletes, and then train them and come back. This is our normal day, and this is the work we are doing. And you see the results every year. We last year we had 8, this year we had 15, 16. In fact, one was under 12 who was not eligible. Usually people jump the age to ride below age categories. We had an athlete who was doing well, but not eligible as per CFI rules to compete at nationals. So counting her 16. But CFI was so, we were honored that they allowed her to give timing. So that was one great opportunity. These younger athletes, 12 years and 13-year athletes representing nationals is a very good thing.
Yeah, amazing.
Exactly.
Because, with the kind of talent identification and the development programs
Yes.
that you guys are doing with the association, with Maxwell Travel, sir, this is going to, find the talent
Young, at young age.
at a very young age and
Yes.
nurture them
Yes.
to developing as an
Yes.
excellent athletes and human beings.
Absolutely.
So that is a great job there. Uh, Coming to the your role as being a qualified technical what is that, technical officer for
Official, yeah.
technical official at the CFI. What is involved in that role?
Yes, cycling is hugely technical game. It's just as our honorable chairman of CFI Sri Onkar ji says, it's the sport is man and machines combination game. So when the machine comes in, you have rules and regulation, you have specifications, you have technical regulations. We are governed and we follow the UCI regulations, as you know. And when it comes to man, man is tend to play smart, any human being. So when these two things add up, you need to have good certain rules and regulations to make sure the game is fair and transparent. That's where the rules and regulations come in, and there are people who actually look and monitor that the game is happening in proper fair manner and rules are followed religiously. That's where the picture of technical officials come in, or rather in a simple language like a referee,
Right.
yeah, who knows the rules of the game, be it small things, reporting at the start line, and if you don't report right on time, there is a chance you may be relegated or disqualified. So there are a lot of things, not reporting on time, not wearing proper apparel, too much of brand flashing. There are certain rules and regulations where the UCI makes sure the game is played fair and equal opportunity is given to all. And for that matter, if you see, there is protocol for podium. You win a medal and you don't show up, you're singing a song with your friend and your name being announced at the podium ceremony and you don't show up, there is a high chance your medal can be taken away. That's the rule you should know. And these are the rules and regulations. As technical officials, we call ourselves as technical officials. We make sure the game is followed with utmost fair and transparent manner, and a lot of areas involved. As a technical official, you also need to take care of the lot of back end work, which we call as secretariat. And those are the areas where the start list, timings, ranking, placements, what is the next event, in the previous event, what was your timing and what is the placement. So that secretariat area is very high busy area, controlled by secretariat people, and they are also qualified in the game. They know the rules and they do that job. Two is you have people, especially in the track, if you see, you have starters who give starts, and you have assistant starters, you have flag bearers, you have holders, you have finish judge, who is, the name itself says, the
Yeah.
finish is observed. You have to maintain lane discipline in the track. You cannot overtake or create hindrance to other rider, and that is ensured that the finish judge is observing. As a technical official, it's a beautiful job. You only do your job. So if I'm a finish judge, I will only focus on the finishing, the races which has bunch finish or kind of finishes. I will not interfere into secretariat job.
Hmm.
You're very sure about your job. So that's how we follow the lap and bell counters. You cannot go wrong with lap counting. So you should be master of the game. So these are the areas as technical officials we do, and we are thorough with the rules and regulation. Cycling Federation of India conducts refreshment courses for new people and also the already existing technical officials to brush up the knowledge, because UCI keeps amending rules and regulations as things go on, and we have to be up to date with those regulations also. And in road, you see, a lot of marshals, starters, ensuring that fair, transparent manner the game is happening. Equipment check. There are people dedicated technical officials for bike checks. uh, you should Ideally you should have bike which is mostly bike which is approved by UCI regulations. You cannot bring some fancy bike and show up for the race, which can give you undue advantage. That's where we talk about fair game. You cannot put on accessories which can give you very high acceleration and again undue advantage. We check all those things, make sure the bike fits in the regulation, and every rider on the start line is having a fair opportunity to compete and win.
Yeah.
That's what we make sure as technical official.
Absolutely awesome. So coming to the legal aspects of say sports law, what are some of the things that athletes need to
Hmm.
be aware of? Say, for example, let us take the anti-doping
Hmm.
rule violations. So, what are some of the anti-doping rule violations that uh, athletes can be ignorant of and can be
Yeah,
susceptible to?
correct. See, when it comes to sports law and in specific to that with regards to anti-doping, anti-doping is one part of the sports legal part. And the thing which you're talking about is ADRV, which is anti-doping rule violation. Most of the athletes in India, for that matter, I think some of the countries who doesn't have much awareness programs, they think it's only doping. ADRV is not just doping. Anything undisciplinary actions act you do comes under ADRV.
Hmm,
Yes,
interesting.
anti-doping rule violation. So let's say you finish a race. So general presumption is the dope tests are conducted for podium winners, but it's very random. I can look at you and I would like to conduct a test. Now, if you restrain or resist to do it, that's also ADRV. And ADRVs are very strict. They can give you a ban for 2 years. We, in legal term, we call it sanction. So you can get a sanction for 2 years, just not coming and obliging to my request to give a test. Or maybe I can ask you certain questions. Maybe, as you know, these are the jobs done by one technical official is always there from cycling, but NADA is the Association National Anti-Doping Agency uh, who does this job. They have these guys who test. They are roaming around in the facility and see an athlete's bag having some medicines, let's say some pharmaceutical dolo or something. And now I have right to question you. I can inquire whose bag is this, what is this medicine, do you have a prescription, did you inform your coach or a federation, did you inform NADA before? And if you don't answer, I can put you on sanction because I have a doubt. you know you have given me the chance to now presume that you are taking something which is not um, required or which is not approved. So those are one classic examples of other anti-doping rule violations.
Right,
Not obliging to request, not coming for test, or for that matter tampering with the test. Now, in jugadu systems, now they will call you for urine test. Now most of the sometimes, the facility is not such that you can go to give your urine test. So most of the times they mix detergent water and give. So now there is a help. Now if you help and become part of it, that's also along with the friend and the persons involved will get a sanction. Like ADRVs sanctions are very huge: lifetime ban, 2 years ban, you never know, 4 years ban also. And one ban, your reputation, the federation's reputation, plus your career is over. You
right,
should be very, very careful, not indulging, not making friendships with people whom you know that they are part of something illegal that can give them, adverse advantage
right,
in the game. So, and also hiding the knowledge that you're aware of, and the officers come to know that you were part of it, that also can bring you sanctions. So
hmm,
it's a very, very delicate area. You should be very, very careful.
right. So there is also some, because the awareness is not there in terms of what is banned, what,
Mm, yes.
what medication can be falling under the, drug usage and all that. Um, they can inadvertently be kind of, in a soup, so to say.
Yes.
Are there any kind of easy to remember over the counter stuff that people generally take that are kind of bad, fall under that category?
See, as an athlete, I wrote a journal uh, long before, calling it as athlete and medication. So it goes hand in glove. You're an athlete, you fall sick. Indian weathers are such, you have different topographies. You fall sick, you tend to fall sick because of the nutrition, the dust, the area we live in. And there are a lot of non-prescribed medications. We all become our own doctors.
Hmm.
बुखार है डोलो ले लो.
We go to the pharmacist and say,
Pharmacist,
kuch do bhai.
कुछ दो भाई.
Yeah,
Most of the time you know the medicine names also,
right,
because from the childhood हमारे घर में भी it starts from home.
right.
You have a medicine, crocin ले लो. Those days
Yeah,
crocin is banned now. Vicks Action 500,
right.
which is banned now. You take one Vicks Action 500, you can be unlucky,
Hmm.
right? So those are all banned medicines which we used to take, and that starts from home. You don't want to go to a doctor, take a proper prescription, and India, especially, if you see, we call it over the counter OTCs. More than 55% medicines are purchased as OTC. Those are non-prescribed medications which are for general public use. And what happens in that case is you don't need a prescription. You go tell the name of the medicine, you buy a box of it or a single tablet. Easily available. You can get home, take it. Now you don't know what is in that formula, prescription, the ingredients. That is where the problem arises for athletes who are competing. See, the game is not about catching you for dope violation. The very principle fundamental of WADA, which is the world governing body for World Anti-Doping Agency, NADA, or all the national doping agencies, the only fundamental is play it fair, don't harm yourself, keep it healthy. Very simply, I have broken it down.
Right.
Not just athletes, even for a normal person, if a substance is banned and giving you an, affecting adversely your health on a long run, you should not take it. Forget about athletes, generally also.
Exactly.
And for athletes, number one, very alarming point that you should always remember, any medication you're taking, always maintain a log what you took, when you took. And if you're taking a prescription from local doctors, pharmacist, general doctors in that area, gullies and all, you should always inform them that you are an athlete, you are subjected to tests in future. Now, most of you think that, abhi to, I'll play nationals after 2 years. What effect it will do? But you never know. Once you take a substance, you don't know when it is going out from your body. For some people, it goes out in 24 hours. For some people, for 24 years, it remains in the system.
Hmm.
You don't know that.
Right.
And we haven't reached that kind of advanced level to understand what is happening and what is to flush out. That's the other part of the story. And most of the doctors are not trained to give sports medicines. They
Right.
give you that general medicine, Dolo 650, Cheston, antibiotics, they write and give it to you. For that matter, antibiotic is also banned substance. Antibiotic in consumption. You know what is allowed? In antibiotics, you have some creams and, lotions for, tear in the skin and all. That you can use. That also very dangerous. Once an athlete, foreign athlete, was caught for some face cream which she applied. She tested positive. Cosmetics,
Hmm.
right? So you never know how it enters your body from the skin or direct ingestion, and so you should always inform the pharmacist or doctor that I am an athlete, I'm subjected to test. Give me the medicine which doesn't come under banned substance. Now, the catch point is not all pharmacists, 90% don't know what is a banned substance. Point for them is to sell. Doctor's job is to give prescription. That's the point. Now, it is your responsibility, as NADA and WADA says, which is called strict liability. Something enters in your body, you are responsible to answer. You are you are liable for that.
You can't say I didn't know. Yeah.
There is no way you can say that.
Right.
So you can't say मेरा डॉक्टर ने लिख के दिया है. Now you can't run behind a doctor,
Right.
right?
So where can they go and kind
Yeah.
of understand
The
that?
two places they can do. One is WADA always publishes every January 1st or first week of January, they publish the banned substance list. Prohibited list is always updated every year. This year also, 1st Jan, they have already updated it. You can see Control F. People are smart. You do a Control F, check. You buy a medicine, check the ingredients, and see if there is something banned in that. Number one. Two, there is a website called Global DRO. It's a database of cosmetics and other pharmaceutical tablets, syrups, all that. You can check there also. They have listed all the banned and prohibited substances. Not just in the NADA, but certain medicines are banned in some countries also for general well-being. It's not good for your health. So also don't take that. Three, if you still have to take certain medicines because of injury or some disease or something like COVID happened, people were on steroids also. What do you do at that time? Have a prescription, inform. Always important to inform your national federation that, hey, you know what? I am going through this in medication. This is a prescription, and I have to do this for this time of course. And I just wanted to let you know that I am taking this medication. Number one. Two, you can also check with the National Federation when you are in doubt that can I take this medicine? I am so and so, I am an athlete, I have played this game. Now I am going through some high fever. My doctor says take this. Is it okay to take it? Now the liability is shifted and shared. And the third point would be very simple. If you don't want to search or do a research, first thing is inform. An athlete should always inform if there is something that you have been prescribed to take a medication. Even though a doctor gives you, he doesn't know what tests are happening and what are banned substances. Most of the Indian doctors are not qualified to give sports medication, and they should know the game, especially the medications which are banned and not banned. So if they are aware and there are certain certified sports doctors, they know what they are giving. So in that case, it's not an issue, but always have a prescription and inform the national federation. Any game you are playing, inform your national federation and take a feedback from them. Is it okay to use? It's okay to wait for a day. And if there is an urgency, most of the federation people are always available on phones. You can just check with them. If they give you a nod, go ahead, and not an issue. That will give you a therapeutic use exemption when you test positive just in case and substance is found. You always have a proof to say that, hey, you know what, in October I informed, this is my prescription. That way you get that exemption. That's called TUE.
Right.
And if you don't inform, you take it on your own. Now you are liable to show how did it come from and for what purpose did you use. Now you also have to prove that. Most of the dope violations are to enhance the game, enhance your abilities. You can't say at that time without disclosing that I took it for a medication purpose. Strict liability is on you.
Right.
And proof of burden, proving that becomes very difficult.
Right.
And that gives you, there are certain substances in classes like S1, S2, you get 4-year ban. And another problem in India, we really don't have the boards for appeal to try your case we don't have such forums ready now. Last year in 2021, the National Anti-Doping Policy, the bill was passed by Lok Sabha. It is still awaiting for Rajya Sabha to pass. So once you have that, you will have a proper statutory body. You will have a lot of infrastructure come in, faster remedies for athletes, and a lot of information available for them. We are still in that stage to, establish that system. NADA is still a society. It's a, as a general society, it is formed. Once it gets a statutory body, it will have its own director general and all that. You will have appeal bodies. You will constitute a lot of legal infrastructure for the athletes for faster disposal. Tomorrow you have an event, you get caught today, you still have the forums to go appeal your case, win the case, and compete tomorrow, so that your athlete career is not ruined. And that is what we are looking forward for, and we're going in the right direction, taking a lot of time. But athletes should be always aware that any medication, inform, disclose the federations, so that at least if you are doing unintentionally, that's what the point here is.
Yeah.
We are not talking about somebody doing intentionally.
Right.
We're talking about somebody who have to take medication. It is mandatory. You inform so that you get that therapeutic use exemption.
If that is in the list of
Prohibited
prohibited.
substance. Yes.
Very, very useful information.
Yeah.
Thank you, Pasha. And I think we have covered quite a bit.
Yes.
Thanks for taking the time and sharing your experience and insights with the Working Athlete podcast.
Absolutely. It was really fun sharing a lot of information. I think we discussed a lot of diverse topics. It was great, short time, and I enjoyed sharing the information. And anybody who has, information which is required with regards to sports and legal aspects, uh, only for the people who did it unintentionally, I'm always there to guide them and spread some awareness on the rules and regulations and with regards to legal aspects of the sport.
How can people reach you?
Yeah, well, I am always available on, I have social media pages. My name is MK Pasha, so you can reach out to me on Instagram and Facebook. And yeah, you can DM me there. I'll respond to you as quickly as I can.
Awesome. Thanks again for taking the time.
Thank you so much, Venki. Thanks a lot.